Aluhu. Eshadala and Olea Botenu. Amiama Yeska Wabiako. Takwados, where Shemeka Kwados, Banu Shemeka Lamahe. Where Shablumene Shabbat Las of the Shabbat Benitola. Bene Israel O Tinola. Kisha every Masa El Shaddai wa Shabbat where Tadet, where Omash be Shabbat wa Nafash. Baruch Shemeka, Baruch Yemeneka, Baruch Tulateka, Baruch Tushateka. El Shaddai Malek, El Shaddai Malak, El Shaddai Lola Mahe. Baruch Shekabor Makuto Lola Mahe. Baruch Kabor Lohim Komo Malek Elio. Aluhu Lola Mahe. First of all, I'd like to give all honor and praise to the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, the great mighty, the rare God, the Most High God, who bestows loving kindness, possesses all things, who remembers the pious deeds of the patriarchs, the Most High, slow of anger, great in kindness, forgiving iniquity and transgressions, but who by no means clear the guilty, visited iniquities of fathers upon children to the third and fourth generation. The Most High's work is perfect, for all his ways of justice, a God of faithfulness and without iniquity, just and right. You may be seated. Giving due respect and honor to head in Israel, Chief Eleazar, to the chief men, princes, brothers and sisters, I say unto you the tongue of my forefathers, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom Lekah.
Do we know what a froward heart is? Do we know what a froward heart is? Huh? A froward heart is a froward mind. It's not actually talking about the heart, but a froward mindset. A froward mindset means you're contrary. You are against. You are opposite. You're contrary to who? You're opposite and contrary towards the mindset of God. You're opposite and contrary. Give me a paper towel, please. You're forward and opposite to the mindset of God. Anytime we do anything that is contrary from the ways of God, anytime we do anything that's contrary and opposite from the laws, commandments, and statutes, it means that we are contrary and opposite to God.
That's right. That's right.
So, what is, I said this already, and I'm saying this so many times because we have people that's claiming the heritage of Jacob, but we are not changing our ways and our mindset according to these godly men that we read about in the book.
That's right.
Because the first thought that's going to come to your mind is not the best thought. I said the first thought that comes to your mind is not always a righteous and godly thought. The first thought most of the time is always against the standards and the curriculum of God. And if wisdom don't come to you right after, that's a problem. That's a problem. That's the norm.
That's right.
That was the norm for our forefathers. When that first thought come to your mind that is contrary from what God said, then the godly thought comes up. Don't do that. There's something that you're doing in your life that's causing God to guide you towards righteousness. That's that guide. That's the wisdom that clean. I said that's the wisdom that God commanded to cling to his saints. That is the wisdom that God commanded to guide his elect, his chosen ones.
The ones that bind themselves.
But when we sin presumptuously against God, when you violate these laws presumptuously, overstepping your boundaries. Because these laws, commandments, and statutes gives you boundaries. Right. It gives you lines. It gives you boundaries that we should not be crossing. It gives you boundaries that we should not be crossing.
That's right.
When you cross those boundaries, who set those boundaries? God set those boundaries.
That's right.
I said, God set those boundaries, man. When we cross those boundaries, we're telling God, forget about you.
That's right. That's right.
I'm going to do as I please.
Right.
And that's when pride sets in.
That's right.
When we do that, pride sets in. That's why pride is the beginning of sin.
That's right.
I said pride is the beginning of sin. When we put ourselves above, when we put our feelings and our emotions above what God says, that is the beginning of sin. And when you do that, you can't serve God.
Talk about it.
You can't serve God. You are not able to serve God because you are not able to discern between what is right and wrong. And if you are able to discern between what is right and wrong, your emotions get the best of you. And you allow your emotions and your feelings to get the best of you.
That's right.
And you begin to go against God and what God said. You justify your wrong actions. We do things contrary from what God said, and we justify our actions of why we did it, disregarding the laws of God. I did this, I said this because, and you got a reason too. You justify your wrong. That's not a godly approach. That's not a righteous approach. No, it's the first thing you're supposed to say. King David did not justify his wrong. He didn't say, I did this because. I ain't read nowhere in the book where a man violated and he had an explanation of why he violated. Because when you start to explain your wrong, you justify yourself.
That's right.
That is a form of pride also. There is no justification when you're wrong. You can't justify yourself when you're wrong before God, man.
That's right.
You can't justify yourself, man. You're wrong.
That's right.
Accept your fault. I have sinned. I have violated the laws and the commandments and the statutes of God. I have violated the order. Accept your fault, man.
That's right.
And do better.
That's right.
But we can't do better if you don't accept your fault.
That's right. That's the beginning.
What I got from reading this book and what God has taught me is that when we offend each other, it's my job to correct the offense.
That's right.
I said it's my job to correct and go to the person who I offended and make correction. Don't justify your wrong. Be truthful with yourself. You got to be truthful with yourself to do things like that. You have to be truthful with yourself so that you will be able to be better before God. But we can't excel. We cannot excel. We cannot T means to do better. You will not be exalted. Isn't that what God told Cain?
That's right.
Isn't that what God told Cain? He said, if you do good. Wait a minute.
Shall I not be accepted?
He said, if you do good. T means to do good,
That's right.
to do better,
That's
to
right.
improve.
That's right.
But we can't improve if we don't correct our shortcomings.
That's right.
That's the only way to improve before God. It's a science to this.
That's right.
It's a science to doing this. Chief Amos used to say that. My father said, he said it's a formula.
That's right.
Steps.
There's ways to get to God.
That's right.
And we can't improve before God if you don't correct your violations. You can't. You may think you're improving. Oh, I'm doing this, I'm doing the other, I'm doing this. But guess what? Look behind.
Improve.
Look behind you. You still have some band-aids loose. You still have some wounds that you need to tend to. You have not tended to those wounds, so you cannot improve before God. You could only improve before God by tending to those offenses that I have done in my past.
Do better and don't go back.
Let's go to Exodus 2. Exodus chapter 2. Got it?
Exodus chapter 2.
Uh-huh.
And there went a man of the house of Lewi, and took to wife a daughter of Lewi.
And there went a man of the house of Lewi and took a wife of a daughter of Lewi. Lewi. When Leah had that son Lewi, there's no V, so it's Lewi. Mm-hmm. Lewi means to join. She said, now my husband will be joined to me. But she didn't realize the significance and the meaning of that name. That later on, that joining was going to be towards God. Lewi had 3 sons, Gershon, Kohath, and Merari. And each and every one of those 3 sons had different jobs within the tabernacle. They had different jobs within the tabernacle. Lewi was joined to God. At one point in time in history, the priest ran the nation. The high priest ran the nation. The only reason why we had a king and we got a king was because we wanted to follow after the nations.
Rebellion.
We rebelled against God and we wanted to follow after the nation.
That's right.
We wanted a king like the people.
That's right.
We wanted to be like the people.
Kemoasha.
We think like the people.
Kemoasha.
We act like the people.
Kemoasha.
What the people do, you want to do.
Kemoasha.
We have to change our mindset to be accepted of God, man, because forward thoughts separate from God. So what God accepts, you have to train yourself to accept, even though you don't like it. Even though you don't like it. And it doesn't rub you right. Because this is not how you was raised. You wasn't shown this. This is why it's very important. When a man or a woman has made his mind up, when a man or a woman has made his or her mind up, choose your spouse. The man or that woman that you choose to be with, choose them wisely. According to your mindset. You want to serve God? Choose and truthfully choose a man that wants to serve God.
That's right.
Truthfully choose a woman that wants to serve God.
That's right.
Go ahead.
Verse 2. And the woman conceived and bare a son.
The woman conceived and bare a son.
And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child.
Wait a minute. This is a baby. But parents are able to see what this child, they had the eye to look in the child and see what's in that child.
It's a natural gift.
It's a natural gift that parents have. That God gave to the parents.
That's right.
So when she had Moses, she said she see that this child is a goodly child. The word for goodly child is tob. Tob means good. When you look up the word good, this is why it's very important to look up words and meanings. Good means to be approved.
Oh my goodness, my God.
Which means this child is going to be approved by God.
Accepted by God.
This child is going to be accepted by God.
Oh man.
Huh?
Oh man.
Huh? I heard a woman say, man, this child was a child, is going to be a child of my agreement from God. Hannah.
I know.
She said, I asked of this. I asked of them. You know what Shemuel means? Huh?
You see the last of that name?
El is God. Shem. Come on, man. She prayed for that son, man. She wanted that son so bad. Look, approved meaning accepted or established. See, when we say certain things, that's why we gotta watch what we say to our children. Because when we say certain things concerning your child, it happens to stick, mainly if the parent says it. This is why when you say certain things, I'll go to the place, man, don't say that about your son. Don't say that about your daughter. Because words have power. Your words that you say out of your mouth has power. And when you mention these things to your children, it tends to stick. So one of my brothers, Prince Zakari, he said, now don't say that to your son. Man, you don't be acting stupid. He said, now don't say that. Use other words. My mother tells me that. Use other words. Yeah, my mother could do that. Because she got the God-given right to tell me what and what not to say or do to my kids. Why?
At this time of your
Because
life.
that's the grandmother. You know what grand is? She ain't the mom. That's grandma. Which means she holds weight.
That's right. That's not
the grandfather holds weight.
It's not a regular mother. It's not a regular father.
So they should be able to come to you and say, no, don't do that. Stop. You better listen.
Yeah, that's deep. Grandfather. Yeah, that's deep.
But in the Hebrew, and when you read the book, you didn't read nothing about grandfather. You don't read it. It says father. Father. Abraham had a certain amount of sons with Keturah. The sons that he had with Keturah, it still mentions these are the sons of Abraham. He's the father. Tell your time sheet.
When she saw him that he was a goodly child.
When she saw that he was a goodly child.
She hid him 3 months.
She hid him 3 months.
Verse 3.
Why she had to hide him 3 months? Because they was killing off the males.
Yeah.
They was trying to wipe out the whole nation of Israel.
Yeah.
Every male child that this Hebrew midwife or Hebrew woman had, they was ordered to kill them. They was ordered to kill them. But it's the same thing going on now. The government can stop the guns from coming in here. The government can stop the drugs. But if you stop the drugs and the guns, then you'll have no prison system.
The world won't go round.
I said you'll have no prison system.
You'll
have no judge. So you have to have crime.
The world won't go round.
You gotta have crime. You don't have crime, there's no cops. There's no need to have cops and police and feds. There's no need for none of that. But the system is trying to kill. Look, the God already prophesied. It said there's going to be one man, and 7 women going to grab hold of one man. And there ain't too many percentage of real men because most of the men is gone aside. Most men like men. That's not no real man. God created man and woman. That's it. Adam and Eve.
Not Adam and Steve.
He didn't create 2 men.
He
didn't create 2 women. He created a man and a woman. A woman opposite to him. Let's read.
And when she could not longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes.
An ark of bulrushes.
And daubed it with slime and with
daubed
pitch.
it with slime and with pitch. So now she couldn't hide Moses no more. She took an ark, bulrushes, daubed it with slime, which is tar, so that the water don't seep in. She put the child in there, closed it, and sealed them off. Read. Exodus chapter 2, verse 4.
And put the child therein, and she laid it in the flags by the river's brink. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river. and her maidens walked along by the riverside. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it. And when she had opened it, she saw the child.
She saw the
And
child.
behold, the babe wept.
The babe wept. As soon as she opened it, the baby cries. As soon as the baby wasn't crying until she opened it.
Catch the heart of the woman.
To catch the heart of the woman.
That's right.
Go ahead.
And she had compassion on him.
She had compassion on him.
And said, "This is one of the Hebrews' children."
Mm-hmm.
Then said
You
his
think
sister,
she didn't realize that? How did she figure that out? That this is one of the Hebrews' women?
circumcised.
How? Moses is circumcised. The baby ain't in there with no clothes on. How they dressed it, or she must have had enough wisdom to tell that this got to be one of the Hebrews' child, because she already knew the decree that went out, that all male child shall be put to death. Go ahead, read.
Shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, Go. And the maid went and called the child's mother. And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. The woman took the child and nursed it.
That's when you know God is in you. You done got some favor from God. She put the child in the ark of bulrushes, let it go in the river. She don't know what's going to become of the child, but their trust was 100% with God. You know what type of trust that woman had, man? To be able to put her own baby that she done pushed out in an ark, daubed it with pitch, and let it go, not knowing where the child going. And them people had trust in God, and she trusted in God that the child would come back to her. You know the type of trust that is? Huh? That's trust. That's 100% trust. And when you got 100%, 1,000% trust with God, that's the whole fact. God don't let you down. But your trust got to be compared to Mount Zion, which cannot be removed but abide forever. It says the mountains are round about Jerusalem, so the Lord is round about his people. You hear me, man? God is around us, but in order to keep God around us, we have to do the things that God loves. That is keeping his laws, commandments, and statutes. Don't forget his ways. Don't forget his ways. My father always said, this is 95% spiritual. 5% physical. I said, this is 95% spiritual, 5% physical. It's more spiritual laws that deals with your ways than physical. It deals with your inside. It deals with your heart. Tomorrow, we're going to learn what it means to be blessed. What it really means to be blessed. Go ahead, Tom C.
Take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee thy wages. The woman took the child and nursed it. Verse 10, and the child grew, and she brought him unto Pharaoh's daughter, and he became her son. And she called his name Moses. Moshe. She said, because I drew him out of the water. And it came to pass in those days when Moses was grown, that he went out unto his brethren.
He went out amongst his brethren.
And looked on their burdens.
And
he spied an
Egyptian smiting a Hebrew.
One of his brethren.
One of his own brethren. Now, how he knew his mother put him on? His mother taught him. The mothers are the ones that teach the children.
That's right.
The mothers are the ones that raises the children.
That's right.
That raises the daughters. That raises and educate the children, the boys and the girls. So that determines what type of child you're going to have.
That's right.
Depending on how the mother is, her mindset.
That's right.
How she is. So if you have a heathenistic wife that clings half and half with God and half to a lifestyle, then she's going to be teaching your child half and half.
That's right.
It's very important to have a wife that has some type of determination for God, because that will determine what type of children you're going to have.
That's right. That's right.
Now you're gonna have a child swinging between two lifestyles.
Talk sense.
Between two lifestyles, man. And that's the mistakes. Those are the mistakes that we make, that the men make in life.
That's right.
We go picking women from the churches, from a lifestyle that is contrary to your lifestyle, and we try to change them. We try to change them to show, and there ain't nothing wrong with trying to change them and showing them the law. But like my father said, before you have that baby with her, make sure she is 100% switched over. Make sure she's 100% turned over towards this way. Don't go having children with a woman that doesn't have the desire to serve your God, because she's going to raise your child opposite to God, contrary to God. So we have to be careful. And the same thing goes with the men. Same thing goes with the woman. Because now, according to the ways and the things that I read in the book, the daughters are supposed to wait until the fathers get the husbands for the daughters. That's just everything that I read here. But it doesn't go that way no more. We have walked in our own ways and did our own thing. Now we got internet and dating sites. And we go on internet and dating sites and find Israelites. And then when you get in contact with these dudes, they're wackos. They're sick. We go and pick up men off the streets. Talk about you need somebody to teach you.
Talk about it, brother.
You need a guide yourself.
Talk about
we can't get to God without a guide.
Talk about it,
Let's understand that. I said you can't get to God without getting a guide.
That's right.
God said you need a guide.
That's right.
And without that guide, you're going to be lost.
That's right.
You're going to be lost.
That's right.
Time sheet.
And he looked this way.
He looked this way.
And that way.
So Moses went out, he spied an Egyptian hitting his brother. So he looked this way, he looked that way.
And when he saw
You think that's the first time he's seen that? Do we think this is the first time Moses saw an Egyptian banging on his brother? No. But this one was different. He realized that if he continued, he gonna kill him. His life is at risk. So he looked this way, he looked that way. Why? Because he did not look at himself as an Egyptian. He looked at himself as a Hebrew, and he knew what he was. Moses was a Hebrew, a good man, established of God, accepted of God. And his mother taught him who he was. So he looked this way, he looked that way. And
when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian. And hid him in the sand. When he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strode together. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said,
So 2 Hebrews are striving. They're arguing. They're striving. They're fighting. So he said to the one that was in the wrong, why did you hit your fellow? Moses was he wasn't partial.
No.
Moses was impartial. And this is something that we have to realize, people. We cannot serve God being partial. Brothers, sisters, friends, relatives, all that must go out the window when we're dealing with God.
That's right.
When we're dealing with his laws, his commandments, his statutes, favoritism goes. So he looked to the one that did wrong. He said, why you hit your fellow brother? Which means what?
No questions asked.
We like to put our hands on people,
Talk about it.
but you don't want hands put on you.
Talk about it.
Moses was not the type of man to do something to a person and not expect it back. That's why he went to the one that was wrong. He said, why you hit your fellow brother? Why? Go ahead.
and he said, who made thee a prince and a judge over us?
Just like the people today.
Right.
You be dead wrong, and you got, what do you say? You shouldn't be saying nothing. See, when you're wrong, when you're at fault, you should not be opening your mouth. You have to be quiet. But only a person that can recognize their faults, only a person can accept that they are wrong, will be quiet. You shouldn't have nothing to say. Nothing. Because you are wrong. You are wrong. Be truthful with yourself. Because if you're not truthful with yourself, you can't serve God. There's no way you can serve this God and you're not truthful with yourself. There's no way you're going to become better with God if you're not truthful with yourself. There's no way you're going to become better with God if you don't correct your offenses. You got to correct those offenses because you cannot approve. You will not be approved by God. Go ahead.
Intendest thou to kill me as thou killest the Egyptian?
Oh, man.
And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known. Now when Pharaoh heard this thing, he sought to slay Moses.
Yeah, Moses had to run because this dude started talking. He said, well, you intend to kill me like you killed the Egyptian?
He told him.
Go ahead.
But Moses fled from the face of Pharaoh.
Moses had to run.
Dwelt in the land of Midian. And he sat down by a well.
Now
the priest of Midian had 7 daughters.
The priest of Midian had 7 daughters.
They came and drew water.
They came and drew the water.
And filled the troughs to water
and they filled the troughs to water their father's flock. Honor. Learn honor by reading the book. You will learn how to honor your parents by reading the book.
That's right.
The book teaches us what words mean. Okay? There's no reason for Jethro to be watering the flock and he has 7 daughters there. There's no reason for your mother to be running to the corner store and she had 10 boys in the house.
That's right.
Which means in order to honor your parents, you have to be around.
That's right.
You can't honor your parents from far.
Talk that.
You can't. In order to honor your parents, you must be around so that you can honor them both in word and in deed. Their word hold grounds. And you know what deed is? Your actions.
Right.
Things that they need done.
That's right.
Things that they need done. You should be able to take care of those things because that also plays a part in honoring your parents. You got to watch your mouth with your parents. You got to watch your words with your parents. Huh? Have to.
Talk it.
Go ahead, Tom Sheik.
Verse 17. And the shepherds came and drove them away.
The shepherds, now these daughters went to go get water. The shepherds came and they bowguarded the water, drove them away. But guess what? That was unjust. That was unjust. Oh, they ain't violating no law, but it was still unjust. It still was wrong. You know, do you know that we can do wrong and violate God
without breaking the law?
Without breaking the law?
Yeah, talk that.
We can do things that God don't like that you don't read in the book.
Yeah.
You read about it. He frowns on it.
Yeah.
And you get in bad position with God.
Yeah.
It said the shepherds came and drove them away. But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. Moses wasn't no chump. It wasn't no 1 and 2 shepherds.
No.
I don't know how many it was, but it was a lot of them.
Like bro said, 1v5.
And Moses stood up and held down those 7 daughters, watered their flock. Now, the woman did not yell and get out of place. We have to realize this. You're talking about Proverbs 31. Stay and remain in your place.
That's right.
There is a place that all women should be in. Right. There is a place that men should be in.
That's right.
Even God got his place.
That's right. He said, I will return to
God,
my place.
Where I get that from? God said, I will return back to my place. Until you guys acknowledge your offense.
Recognize.
Until you recognize where you came up short with God.
Yeah.
And if we continue not to recognize our faults with God, then God will go back to his place and he's going to stay there.
That's right.
Go ahead.
But Moses stood up and helped them and watered their flock. And when they came to Reuel, their father, he said, how is it that you are come so soon today?
Reuel knew that the shepherds used to bow guard him.
But he ain't messing with them.
He didn't go out there and say, oh, no, not my daughters. No. He left them alone. It was no issue. Because he already taught his daughters to respect men.
That's right.
And stay in your place.
Stay
and
in
if
your
they
place.
come again, stand down.
That's
Let them get it. But Moses seen and recognized that that was unjust and it was wrong. And Moses was not a man that stood with wrong.
That's right. That's right. Different.
Notice we got to read about these men. Moses, King David.
That's right.
When God makes specific detail about a man.
That's right.
Read about him.
That's right.
He said there you go. That's the word. When God mentions specific qualities about certain men, read about their ways and pick it up. Put it to yourself so that you can draw God's attention towards you.
Right.
This book teaches us how we need to be.
That's right.
Because what did God say? He said, there will never be another man like my servant Moses.
That's right. That's right.
Never be another man like Moses.
That's right.
He said, this guy, King David, he said, man, if I was to come down, he said, this guy here got a heart like me.
I'll be like this man right here.
He said, King David got a heart like God. You know what I mean by a heart? He got the same mindset.
That's mindset. The way
he thinks like God.
Same way.
See why I told you we have to change our thinking pattern? We could be doing things right. Come on, man. We could be doing things right, but our mindset is twisted.
That's where you go off at.
Come on, man. This is dealing with our ways. We have to change our pattern of thought and the way we think. Because the way we think, it shows in our actions. And it ain't right by God, man.
That's right.
It's not correct, man. It's not correct. And just because of those froward thoughts, contrary thoughts, thoughts that is opposite from God, God push you away.
That's right.
Push you away.
That's right.
I can't deal with you. Guess what? God is looking past the frontlet and the bracelet and the garments.
That's right.
He's looking past that. Guess what? That's
kindergarten.
That's kindergarten.
Not even kindergarten.
That's kindergarten.
Before you start school.
Forget kindergarten. That's pre-K.
Before you start school.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
So God looked past all that.
Yeah.
Said, nah, I can't deal with you. Because the garments, the frontlet, the bracelet, all these things that we doing, coming to teachers, is not having a positive effect on your spirit.
That's right.
These things are not having a positive effect on us. We still remain and still are the same way that God hates. It's not having no effect. So why do we continue in these despicable ways? Why? We gotta stop, man. We gotta stop, man. I'm gonna give you a little story. Today, right? I'm on my way down from Queens, driving. My daughter's in the front seat. She goes, pulls out change, shows me the change. Look, I'll go and turn and look that quick. Boom, I hit the person in front. You know what came to my mind? Drive off.
Talk, bro. Talk.
There's no law said thou shalt not drive off, but it won't be right.
It won't be right.
It won't be right. And I was going to drive off. But then the second thought came. He said, that won't be just. Wisdom came. He said, that won't be just. That won't be right in the eyes of God. And I don't need God frowning at me. I don't want God to frown at me. I don't need God to be frowning at me. So you know what I did? I stopped. Put the car in park. Got out the car. spoke to the woman. She was a Muslim woman. She said, okay, wait, my husband is coming. Good woman. I'm not going to deal with this. She ain't want to talk to me. I'm not dealing with this. The first thing she did was call her Lord, her husband. And she didn't take my information until her husband told her to take it. Before she did anything, she called her husband. So her husband said, take his license, take his insurance, and take a picture of the plate. All right, bro, I'm going to wait. I'm not driving off. I'm sitting right here. So when he came, I went to him. You know what the first thing he said? I said, how you doing, brother? He said, how you doing? He said, you an Israelite. That's the first thing he said out of his mouth. He said, you an Israelite. I said, wow. I said, how you know? He said, by what you have on, your fringes. He said, I'm Ishmael. he said, don't worry about it, man. He said, he's a Muslim. He said, don't worry about it. So we spoke, exchanged information, and that was it. And that was the godly thing to do. That was the right thing to do. And if I did anything other than that, I don't know what kind of ripples it would have started up, or charged, or started up in the heavens. The first thing came to my mind was to drive off. You got to be on guard with your spirit. That's why God said, take heed to thyself.
Be on point.
Guard your spirit. But you can't guard your spirit not hearkening to God. Huh? Shamara means to guard, to take heed. It also means to listen or to observe. You cannot take heed to your spirit if I don't listen to God, if I don't hearken and observe the things that God regards, the things that God said to observe. You must observe it.
That's right.
When you begin to observe and take heed to the things that God regard, now I can take heed to myself by correcting myself, by guarding myself. God will guide you.
That's right.
We have to put ourselves in the slot of a pious one,
That's right.
of a saint. He said, nah, I see good in this man here. And the good that I see in this guy here, that he has the determination to serve God. Hey, I always say he has the determination to serve God. But we run across women also that have those qualities, man.
That's right.
Not only the men, you run into women that have the determination to serve God. And I ran into some woman that, listen, if she don't find no Hebrew that wants this, she says, I'm staying to myself.
Pious
I don't have no problem staying to myself
pious one.
and serving God.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality that the woman needs to have, because we have some God-forsaken men in the nation.
Yeah.
Yeah. The same way you got bad woman, base men, you got base woman.
That's right.
Same thing.
Talk about it.
Go ahead.
Verse 19, and they said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of this shepherd.
Why they called him Egyptian?
He was dressed like
Because he was dressed like an Egyptian. They categorize you by how you dress.
That's right.
This is why my father always stated,
That's right.
put on your garment.
That's right.
This is why, listen, man, everybody from the old camp, from how it was set up, is dying out. Most of them died off.
Yeah, it's not all.
And that culture that was set up from in the beginning is dying out.
That's right.
Back in them days, you ain't have nobody come to teachings without a garment on.
That's right.
Back in them days, you ain't have nobody come to teaching Sabbath services without a robe on.
That's right.
Benny and Dot used to stop you at the door. You got to put something on. They put a cover on you. They put a thing on you. Then you could come in. But now, Israelites come to teachings anyhow. T-shirts, shirts,
lapels,
suit and tie, lapels. So if you can distinguish and tell and say Moses was the Egyptian, which means there is an apparel that comes with being an Israelite.
That's right.
I said there is an apparel that comes with being an Israelite.
That's right.
Okay? Okay? So we got to stop. We got to stop, man. We got to stop and be truthful with ourselves. The reason why we can't be truthful with ourselves, because I want to continue looking like Henry. I want to look like Henry, Paul, Mike. I want to look like the nations.
That's right.
The only difference is that you got strings hanging off the side.
That's right.
Guess what? Moses didn't have no fringes on.
That's right.
I said Moses didn't have fringes on.
Pioneer.
He had on the apparel of an Egyptian. So when they said an Egyptian delivered us, the only reason why they called him an Egyptian is because of how he was dressed.
That's right.
So now we have to corral our spirit and train ourselves to look how God wants you to look.
That's right.
Wear what God wants you to wear.
Yeah.
Because in Malachi 1, in Malachi 3, it says, Beged. Beged means a garment. You change the vowels, it's bagad, means treacherous. Your beged hides your treacherous, hides the treacherousness that's in you. It hides it.
Your garment hides your treachery.
Your garment hides your treachery. There is certain things that you will not do that when you have on the road, that when you don't have on the road, you will do. Your garment hides your treachery, man. Beged and bagad.
I witnessed it.
Come on, man. You can't be looking like these people, man. The woman too. Not only the man. Let me give you an example. The woman didn't wear tight clothes. Showing your curves. Showing everything, every curve in your body. You know why? Remember in the time, Genesis chapter 38, with Tamar. Tamar saw that Judah did not give her Shelah because she was supposed to marry Shelah. There was 3 brothers, Onan, and Shelah. They both lived under the same roof. Died without having a son. So according to law, Onan had to go in to his brother's wife. But Onan knew that the seed was not going to be his, so he spilled it on the ground, which was selfishness. God killed Onan for being selfish. Not wanting to raise up seed for his own brother.
That's right.
And he knew the seed was not going to be his, so God killed him. You see how heavy it is? How deep it is not to be selfish? You can't serve God being selfish. You see how deep that is, man? And these laws teaches us not to be selfish. So now Judah tells his daughter, go to your father's house until Shelah, my son, be grown. But time passed, and she realized that Shelah was grown and he wasn't given to me. And the only thing on her mind was to raise up a seed for her dead husband. So you know what she did? She wrapped herself. She wrapped herself and covered her face. Those was the apparel of whores, of harlots. Yeah. When she wrapped herself, take a material and wrap yourself. It's going to be tighter than a robe or a dress. It's going to show your figure. But that was the attire of a harlot. So when that's why I give you that example. To show you that Israel did not dress with every curve showing. You know why? Because that's supposed to be for your husband. That belongs for your husband to see. Your man got to see that. We something for the eyes to wonder.
That's right.
Tom Sheik.
They said, an Egyptian delivered us out of the hand of the shepherds.
And
also drew water enough for us.
What verse you at?
Bottom of 19.
Go ahead.
And watered the flock.
Watered the flock.
And he said unto his daughters.
Exodus 2, verse 20.
And he said unto his daughters.
And he said unto his daughters.
Where is he?
Where is he?
Why?
If he did all this for you, where is he at? He did good to you, right? Why you left him out there? Jethro was on point. He said, where is he? Tom Sheik.
Why is it that ye have left the man?
Why you left the man? If the man did you good, why you left him? So now Jethro's mindset is, I got to show this man some type of favor. I have to return and recompense the good that Moses did to me. You do them good to my daughters, you did good to me. So I have to return the good back. Realize something and understand something. When someone do good to you, it's your job
To repay it.
not to say thank you, not to say I appreciate it,
Repay that.
but it's for you to show your appreciation with your actions by returning the good back to the person that did you good.
That's right.
That's godliness and that's righteousness. And the book teaches us how to be godly and righteous, how to get to attract the attention of God towards us.
That's right.
There's a way you do those things, man.
That's right.
Let's go.
Why is it that ye have left the
He
man?
said, why you left the man?
Call him.
Call
that he
him.
may eat bread.
We may eat some bread.
And
I got to eat bread with this guy here. Go ahead.
Verse 21.
Verse
And
21.
Moses was content to dwell with the man.
Uh-huh.
And he gave Moses Zipporah, his daughter.
Uh-huh.
And she bare him a son.
Uh-huh.
And he called his name Gershom.
Gershom.
Well, he said, I have been a stranger.
I have been a
in
stranger
a strange land.
in a strange land. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in process of time that the king of Egypt died. And the children of Israel sighed by reason of the bondage.
Uh-huh.
And they cried. And their cry came up unto God by reason of the bondage.
God heard their cry.
And God
I
heard
said, God heard their cry.
That's right.
Anytime you cry together,
That's right.
it makes more of a heavy impact in the ears of God.
That's right.
This is why we came up and said, well, let's confess. But it has more of an impact if we confess together. Not one-on-one, one person. This one. Everybody at unison at the same time confessing in the ears of God, it's going to have an impact.
That's right.
But we too busy to do those things.
That's right. Speaking.
We too busy to do that. We can't have 10 minutes and give it to God.
Yeah.
Come on, man. Tom Sheik.
Yeah.
Verse 24.
Uh-huh.
And God heard their groaning.
God heard their groaning.
And God remembered his covenant with Abraham.
Now, what caused God to remember his agreement, his covenant with Abraham? Because the people cried out. They cried out. Go ahead.
And God remembered his covenant with Abraham, with Isaac, and with Jacob.
Uh-huh.
And God looked upon the children of Israel.
And God looked upon the children of Israel. You know what that word means? The word look is ra'ah, resh, aleph, hey. It means to look. To look means to regard. And God has regarded the children of Israel. God has considered the children of Israel. You know what that word regard means? When God regards you and he considers you, he guides you. I say he guides you. Let's go back to Genesis 4. Example, I love using the book to back up what I say. If you can't use the book to back up what you're saying, then it's not, don't tell me it. I don't want to hear it. Use the book to back up the book. I said use the book to back the book up. Cain and Abel. One was considered by God. One was regarded by God. One wasn't regarded by God. Okay? Cain was not considered and regarded by God. So therefore, he was led towards sending up the wrong thing for an offering. Now notice, the order of the offering was not set up yet. I said the order of the offering wasn't set up yet. The order of the offering didn't get set up until Leviticus. Abel was regarded and considered by God. So he led him towards setting up the right thing. And my brother pointed this out to me. Not because you got the right idea means it's going to be done the right way. Because you are not regarded and considered by God. Now, the book never stated what did Cain do for God to push him away and not regard him. Which means whatever God didn't regard, it had to be something that God saw in him.
That's right.
Something that God saw in that he had in him that he didn't like.
Something about it.
Huh? So we have to watch. This is why God gave us this book, so that we can clean our ways. Because sometimes our ways can be contrary to the ways of God, and we will drive God far away from us. Because what you got in you, there's something that you got in you that God frowned at. I don't want God to look inside of my heart and frown at what I have in me. This is why it's very important to change your ways. Amend your ways, O house of Israel. Change your ways. Change the way you are. Because the way you are is not right. It's not godly. It's not righteous. It's not the way that God. Listen, man. Go ahead, Tom Sheep.
And God had respect unto them.
Uh-oh. God had respect unto who?
Children of Israel.
The children of Israel. Huh? For God to have respect, the word for respect is yada. To know. To have come upon after searching. Wait a minute. When I looked up the word yada, yod, dalet, ayin, it says God had respect unto them. The word yada means to know. You know when God knows you and recognizes you? It takes time. It don't take no time, but it comes after God has inspected you and searched to see your morals.
That's right.
What do you have within you, your inner self, to have come upon thee, searching to discover, to become familiar with. So in order for me to be familiar with you, in order for me to have respect for you, I have to know what type of person you are. What type of person you are, so that I will be able to accept you. And that takes time and observance, putting you through trials and tribulations, putting you through things to see your decision. What you going to decide to do? Are you going to choose what God said? Or are you going to choose what you think or how you feel? What you think is best. What I think is best don't count. What God thinks counts. Go ahead, let's read.
Chapter 3.
Chapter 3. Exodus chapter 3. Tom Sheep.
Now Moses kept the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian.
Moses kept the flock of who? Of Jethro, his father-in-law. Mind you, this is my father-in-law. My father-in-law is my father. My father-in-law is my wife's father. Right. And I have to treat my wife's father like my own father. Right. And if my father-in-law say certain things out of pocket, or my mother-in-law say certain things out of pocket, before I answer you, I'll walk away. Okay, mama, I'm sorry for offending you. I'll see you later. Okay, Abba, Papa, I'm sorry if I offended you. I'm walking away. And I will give them that honor, because these two parents are my mother's or my wife's parents. So we have to respect your mother-in-law and your father-in-law as if they was your own parents. Tom Sheep.
And he led the flock to the backside of the mountain.
He led the flock to the backside. Check this out. Woo!
And came to the mountain of God.
Came to the mountain of God. That's what that mountain was known for. That mountain was known to be the mountain of God before the nation of Israel got there. Way back then, it was something special about that mountain. He said he called Mount Sinai the mountain of God. Buried one of the saints in Mount Nebo, Mount Horeb. Took Aaron and said, man, go up in that mountain and die. Moses, go up in that mountain and die. Listen, man. Listen, man. The tabernacle was here in Mount Sinai. They didn't find that tabernacle. Oh, they found the tabernacle. No, they didn't. No, they didn't find those scrolls. You know what was hidden in the tabernacle? A Omer manna. The ark. It's in the ark, right. You know what was hidden in that thing? The ark was hidden in it. A manna, the staff, Aaron's rod, and one more. Damn. The tablets. The two tablets was hidden inside there. You think those tablets is most holy? Those tablets was written with the finger of God, engraved in stone. And you think God is going to allow people, normal and common people, to get their hands on those tablets? Those tablets got power. Power, man. Power, man. Let's read.
And the angel of the Lord appeared unto him in a flame of fire
out
of the midst of a bush.
Now, Moses is at the grounds of Mount Sinai. So next thing, the angel appeared unto Moses in a burning bush. The bush was burning, but it wasn't being consumed. You know what that is? For a bush to be on fire and it ain't being burnt? Go ahead.
And he looked, and behold, the bush burned with fire, and the bush was not consumed.
Bush wasn't getting burnt.
And Moses said, I will now turn aside.
It drew Moses' interest. Now, in order for God to take his interest in you, you have to show your interest in God first. I have to show God that I want this. How do I show God this is what I want? There's only two things that I can show, three things I can do to show God that I want this. Reading, praying, and doing. Do what you read. Live according to what you read. Go ahead.
And when the Lord saw that he turned aside to see, God called unto him out of the midst of the bush and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here am I.
Here am I.
And he said, Draw not nigh hither. Put off thy shoes from off thy feet. For the place whereon thou standest is holy ground.
Holy ground.
Moreover, he said, I am the God of thy fathers.
I am the God of thy fathers.
The God of Abraham.
The God of Abraham.
The God of Isaac.
The God of Isaac.
And the God of Jacob.
The God of Jacob. Woo, go ahead.
And Moses hid his face.
Moses hid his face.
For he was afraid.
He was afraid to look upon God. Go ahead.
The Lord said, I have surely seen the affliction of my people which are in Egypt, and have heard their cry by reason of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. I am come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up out of that land unto a good land, and a large, unto a land flowing with milk and honey.
Milk and honey.
Unto the place of the Canaanites.
Unto a place of the Canaanites, the Hittites,
the
Amorites, Perizzites,
and the
Hivites,
and the
Jebusites.
Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel.
The cry of the children of Israel is what?
It's come unto me.
Come unto me.
And I have also seen the oppression wherewith the Egyptians oppressed them. Now come now, therefore, and I will send thee unto Pharaoh, that thou mayest bring forth my people, the children of Israel, out of Egypt. Moses said unto God, Who am I that I should go unto Pharaoh?
Moses didn't have no pride in him. He looked at God. He said, Lord God, who am I? That what?
That I should bring forth the children of
That
Israel.
I should bring forth the children of Israel
out of Egypt.
Out of Egypt. Who am I that I'm able to do these things? He didn't have pride in him. Go ahead.
He said, certainly I will be with thee, and this shall be a token unto thee that I have sent thee.
That I have sent thee.
When thou hast brought forth the people
what
out
verse
of
you at?
Egypt. 12.
Exodus 3 verse 12. Tamshi.
When thou hast brought forth the people out of Egypt, ye shall serve God upon this mountain. Verse 13. And Moses said unto God, behold, when I come unto the children of Israel, and shall say unto them, the God of your fathers has sent me unto you, and they shall say to me, what is his name?
What's his name?
What shall I say unto them?
What am I going to tell these people? They're going to ask for your name. Go ahead.
God said unto Moses,
well, look what God told Moses.
I am that I am.
I am that I am. Ehiyeh, I shared Ehiyeh. You know what? Ehiyeh. Ehiyeh, the root word is Hayah. Hayah means to exist. Yeah. I exist. Yeah. I will become what I choose to become. Look, man, I shared Ahiyeh. I am that I am. I will become what I choose to become. This is why God was able to come down in a cloud and cover the tabernacle. His glory was inside the cloud. Then he instructed the high priest. He said, this spot, the holies of holies, once a year, the high priest went in the holies of holies. And God commanded him and ordered him, do not come into the holies of holies without making a smoke. Don't come in here without that pomegranate and the bell. He said, I want to hear you coming. Don't come in here sneaking up in here without that smoke, because if you come in here and you see me sitting on my mercy seat, God done made himself so small to fit in that seat. He said, you come in here and you see me. Why did God say, if you see me? Which means he can make himself appear. And he gonna sit in that seat between those two cherubims facing towards. There's no metaphor in that. No. Ain't no metaphor in that. That's why God was able to take Moses and put him at the cleft of the rock. And God turned his back, removed his hand, and he showed Moses' back part. Ain't nothing metaphoric about that. God told the high priest, don't come in the holies of holies, because if you see me on my seat, on my mercy seat, he said, I'm going to kill you. He said, you're going to die. You're going to die. He said, I will become what I choose to become. I will be that I will be. I am the existing one. I live forever. My God. My God, my God. Let's read.
Thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, I am has sent me.
I am has sent me.
God said moreover unto Moses, thus thou shalt say unto the children of Israel, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham,
the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac,
and the God of Jacob,
and the God of Jacob has sent me unto you.
This is my name forever.
This is my name forever. Wait a minute. He said, I am that I am. He said, this is my name forever. Where do you see Yod He Wav He at?
He already told you.
Please tell me. I said, God already told you his name. He said, this is my name forever. You could call me that. In Amos 6, it says, hold your tongue.
Hold your tongue.
Hold your tongue.
For ye shall not.
For ye shall not make mention of the name of God. Lord have mercy. Brother, these people don't comprehend.
Yeah.
Why there's no explanation to that. Hey man, there's no explanation. It's plain and simple. You mean to say I can't say his name in prayers? No, I don't say his name at all.
That's right.
And we got to be careful. You know why? There's no Moses here to explain nothing. There's Aaron not here to explain nothing. Ain't nobody here to explain nothing.
That's right. Not even the temple.
That's why God left the book there. And according to how you live can determine how much you do.
Yeah.
According to how you live tells me how much you do. It will be according to how much you do. Stop mentioning God's name. Now, guess what? I ain't mad at you. Because God gave everybody a choice. You want to mention God's name, by all means, you go ahead. I'm not going to go in a tug of war, typing back and forth. Go ahead, mention it, go ahead. The book already said don't do it. It's your choice. But God already told you what his name is. I am that I am.
That's right.
He said, that's my name. Go ahead.
This is my name forever, and this is my memorial.
This is my name forever, and this is my what?
My memorial
My
unto all generations.
Unto all generations. Read.
Go.
Go.
Gather the elders of Israel.
Gather the elders of Israel together.
And say unto them,
the
Lord God of
your fathers,
the God of Abraham,
Isaac, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob, appeared unto me, saying,
I have surely visited you.
I have visited you. Wait a minute. Quiet. I have visited you. I have remembered you. Huh?
That's right.
What did the nation do for God to remember them? They cried out. Which means there are certain things that you can do in life that can draw God's attention towards you. Go ahead.
And seeing that which is done to you in Egypt.
And
I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt unto the land of the Canaanites and the Hittites, and the Amorites, and the Perizzites, and the Hivites, and the Jebusites, unto
land flowing with milk and honey. Read.
And they shall hearken unto thy voice. Thou shalt come, thou and the elders of Israel, unto the king of Egypt. And you shall say unto him, the Lord God of the Hebrews.
The Lord God of the Hebrews.
Yeah.
I said the Lord God of the Hebrews.
Yeah.
So in order for God to be your God, you have to follow the ways and his commands for God to claim you. That's what he said, the Lord God of the Hebrews. There's a certain way that we need to walk for God to claim you.
Yeah.
If we're not walking the way that God wants us to walk, we cannot be claimed and accepted by God.
That's right.
Tom sheet.
And now let us go. We beseech thee 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. And I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go. No, not by a mighty hand. And I will stretch out my hand and smite Egypt with all my wonders which I do in the midst thereof.
Go ahead.
And after that, he will let you go. And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And it shall come to pass that when ye go, you shall not go empty. But every woman shall borrow of her neighbor.
What verse you at?
Verse 22.
Wait a minute. Go back. It said verse 22. I gotta go back. And I'm sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go. Right?
Right. Verse 19.
No, not by a mighty hand. Why? Because the Creator hardened the heart of Pharaoh against doing the thing that is right.
That's right. Cool.
When we fall out of favor with God, God will harden your heart against doing the things that is lawful and right by God. He will lead you astray, man. And by God leading you astray, he gonna lead you to your destruction. Because the things that I'm doing with the works of my hands is not right with God. I said the works of my hands is not right with God. And I don't need God to guide me towards iniquity. I don't need that. So therefore, I have to make sure that everything that I do in life is according to what God said. I have to make sure that everything that I do in my life is just and right. Because sometimes the things that is just and right is not in the book. But you know what is right and what is wrong. You know this would not have been, this is not the right thing to do. Because we got knowledge of both sides. I said we got knowledge of both sides. Good and evil. Now it's your choice to choose. God wants the willing heart. He said, choose life so that thou and thy seed may live. You know what that means, man? Look, man, you do know that's deep, man. I don't think we know the significance of the head choosing life. Because in the head can direct his whole family down the drain just by what the head choose. The direction that the head goes in will show the direction that his family goes in. So listen, man. What God just said choose life so that thou, you, and your children may live. So I didn't choose this of my own accord. I didn't choose this because I chose this because this is how I was guided by my father and the things that he chose in his life, which trickled down into his seed. And I hope to God that it trickles down to my seed. That's the science to this, man. That's the science to this. Passed down. Huh? Let's read.
Verse 20. And I will stretch out my hand.
I will stretch out my hand.
Egypt with all my
I will smite Egypt with what?
With all my wonders.
With all my
which
wonders.
I will do in the midst thereof.
Uh-huh.
And after that, he will let you go.
Uh-huh. What verse you at?
21.
Uh-huh.
And I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians. And it shall come to pass that when ye go, ye shall not go empty.
Uh-huh.
But every woman shall borrow of her neighbor, and of her that sojourneth in her house, jewels of silver, jewels of gold, and raiment, and ye shall put them upon your sons and upon your daughters, and ye shall spoil the Egyptians.
Your neighbors. The word for your neighbors is Shin Ka Nun. It don't mean neighbors. It means inhabitants. Huh? But every woman shall borrow of her inhabitants or her neighbors, people that inhabit, right? The Egyptian, thy neighbors. Huh? I said the Egyptian, thy neighbors. It also means neighbors. The Egyptian, thy neighbors. Even though they wasn't Hebrews, they still was your neighbors because we lived close by. Okay? We live near them. They inhabit the same area with us. So they are our neighbors.
Next door neighbor.
Okay? And with that, all I got what was bought. I'd like to say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Tomorrow we're going to be starting teachings, Shabbat services, 11 a.m., 11 o'clock. If you have any questions, type it in the chat. If you have any questions, type it in the chat. 11 to 4. Any questions, type it in the chat. I hope everyone got what was bought. And I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Once again, any questions, type it in the chat. If not, we're going to continue this tomorrow. Tomorrow at 11 o'clock. Hope everybody has gotten what was bought. I hope that everybody that was listening take heed. Take heed to the commandments and the laws and the ways of God so that you can draw God's attention towards you for righteousness, for good.
There you go.
The only way for us to be accepted by God is to change our ways. We must change our ways towards the way that God wants us to be, which means we cannot continue in life talking with the way we is. Because the way I am, God don't like me this way. The way you is, God don't like you this way. So he left us a book. Oh, merciful Lord, the mercy of God left us a book so that we can read and learn how God wants us to be. And with that, I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom. 11 o'clock tomorrow.